medical bay of Outpost Kepler 7 had never been designed for this. Dr. Emma Chen stood in the doorway, staring at the impossible scene before her. 300 coalition soldiers, representing 17 different species, sitting in absolute silence outside her infirmary. Some had been there for 48 hours, all because of what lay in room 7. "They won't leave," her assistant, a Vrixian named Teshka, chittered nervously. "I've tried everything. Threats, bribes, appeals to regulation. Nothing works." Emma sighed, running a hand through her disheveled hair. She hadn't slept properly since the human transport ship had arrived 3 days ago, carrying its precious and utterly bizarre cargo. Inside room 7, curled on a medical cot designed for soldiers 3 times her size, slept a 6-year-old human girl named Lily, and standing guard beside her, arms crossed and eyes alert despite 72 hours without rest, was Lieutenant Elijah Morrison. The story had spread through the garrison like wildfire. The transport vessel had been carrying civilian evacuees from Earth's outer colonies when they'd been intercepted by Kresh raiders. The Kresh, apex predators who had terrorized the galactic arm for centuries, who collected other species as trophies and sport. But they'd made a mistake. They'd taken the child of humanity's most decorated shock trooper. Lily's mother had died holding off the raiders while the transport escaped. Her father was somewhere in deep space, part of a black ops unit that officially didn't exist, so Lily had been placed in Elijah's care. Just another soldier on another deployment until the raiders returned. Emma had heard the recordings, had seen the aftermath. The Kresh hunting party had tracked the transport to Kepler 7, expecting easy prey. What they'd found instead was a garrison that had fought alongside humans for 5 years, and what those soldiers had learned was this: humans were dangerous when threatened. But humans protecting their young were unstoppable. The battle had lasted 6 minutes. The Kresh, who'd conquered dozens of worlds, who'd never retreated from any engagement, had fled in complete disarray. And in the aftermath, something extraordinary had happened. The soldiers had seen Lily. Emma walked down the corridor, past Karathi warriors who could tear through steel with their bare claws, past Helion scouts whose reflexes were faster than thought, past even the massive Thurn whose species considered compassion a weakness. All of them sat waiting. She entered room 7 quietly. Lily was finally awake, sitting up and drawing with the electronic pad someone had brought her. Her dark curls were tangled and her eyes, too old for a 6-year-old, tracked Emma's movement with careful assessment. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" Emma asked gently. "Okay," Lily said softly. "Elijah says I'm safe here." The lieutenant nodded slightly, his dark skin ashen with exhaustion but his bearing still military straight. Emma had tried to relieve him multiple times. He'd refused every order. "You are safe," Emma confirmed. "The safest place in the galaxy, probably." She pulled up a chair. "Do you know why?" Lily shook her head. Emma gestured to the door. "Would you like to see something amazing?" The girl looked to Elijah, who gave a small nod. Together they walked to the infirmary entrance. Emma opened the door. Lily's eyes went wide as she saw the assembled garrison. 300 warriors from across coalition space sitting in perfect silence. When they saw her, something rippled through the crowd. Not movement, something deeper. Recognition. A massive Thurn warrior, his kind known for never showing deference, slowly placed his fist over his hearts in salute. Then a Karathi did the same. Then a Helion, one by one, the entire garrison rendered honors to a human child. "Why?" Lily whispered. Elijah knelt beside her, his voice rough with emotion. "Because they've fought beside humans. They've seen what we are." "What are we?" Emma answered. "Fragile, weak by the standards of most species. We can't breathe methane like the Vrixians, can't survive in vacuum like the Helions, don't have natural armor like the Karathi." "Then why?" "Because," Elijah continued, "humans bond. We pack bond with anything and anyone. Our own children, obviously, but also our squad mates, our allies, even our pets. And when something threatens what we've bonded with?" His eyes hardened. "The galaxy learns why humans spread across the stars." A Karathi warrior approached, moving with careful slowness. She carried something in her clawed hands. A small carving of what looked like a bird, worked in precious metal. "For the cub," she rumbled, her translator rendering her growls into coalition standard. "In my culture, we give young warriors their first blade. But you are too young for weapons, so I give you this instead, a symbol. The bird that returns home always. Lily accepted the gift with trembling hands. Thank you. More warriors approached. A Hellion scout brought star charts painted on silk. A Thurn offered a shield bearing his family crest. A Vryxian presented a musical crystal that hummed with harmonics. They weren't just protecting a human child, Emma realized. They were protecting the concept of innocence itself. Every species here had seen what humans would do for their young, had fought beside soldiers who charged into certain death when children were threatened, and they'd learned that this absolute, uncompromising protection of the vulnerable was humanity's true strength. Not their endurance or adaptability or stubbornness, though those were remarkable. It was their capacity to make others care. They're not just guarding you, Emma explained softly to Lily. They're declaring you pack, all of them. Elijah's hand rested on Lily's shoulder. Every species here has their own word for family, for clan, for the ones they die protecting. He gestured to the assembled warriors. You just became that to all of them. Lily looked up at the lieutenant, tears streaming down her face. Because I'm human? Because you're ours, Elijah said simply. And humans taught them something the creche never understood. Strength isn't just about conquest. Real strength is knowing what's worth protecting and never backing down. The garrison remained through the night and the next day, and the day after that. They stayed until Lily's uncle arrived from Earth, until she was safely aboard a civilian transport heading home. And when the transport launched, 300 warriors stood at attention on the landing pad, saluting not a fellow soldier but a child who'd reminded them all why they fought. In the medical bay, Emma watched the ship disappear into the stars and smiled. The creche had learned their lesson the hard way. You could challenge humanity's warriors. You could test their technology. You could even match their stubbornness. But threaten their young, the entire galaxy would camp outside your door.